Anthony, you're looking so mysterious, and neither of us in our home studios. Whoa!
I'm Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality.
Anthony Milcari, so great to see you today, my friend. Look at you. You are in a car.
I'm coming out of the darkness into the light, my friend. Yeah, you know what?
Come into the light, Anthony Milcari. Come into the light.
We committed that when you start traveling and I start traveling, that we're still going to do the show no matter what. So I'm in a car coming home from LaGuardia, and you're in where, Jersey?
No. I'm at the Hilton Garden Inn, Melville, Long Island. So some of you may know I'm a board member of the Long Island Hospitality Association. We had our first in-person / hybrid virtual meeting. And since I'm the chair of the technology social media thing, what we did was I set up the virtual component. So we had the Suffolk County DA here talking about some of the issues that are affecting hospitality properties right now, both restaurants, hotels, et cetera, even trafficking, drugs, all of that kind of stuff, as well as some other interesting stuff. So it was great to be here. So I stuck around, and let's give a good plug to the Hilton Garden Inn, Melville, and the Homewood Suites right next door.
That's great. And let me ask a question. So that was your first real in-person meeting all year,
is. Right? It is,
wow,
right.
Really
My first,
cool.
the only ones we've had is like us together in the same place broadcasting. So things are changing. But you're not home. But you're not home either. You're in a car. But can I ask you to hold on 1 second? Because I've got a couple of messages I want to put out there. All right, everybody. Don't forget, we haven't talked about it in the last day, but what about Bright Support? Listen, hotel owners, falling revenue last year means you can get lower tax assessments in a lot of time. So take 5 minutes. There's no risk. Reach out to our friends over at brightsupport.net/hotels or give them a call at 833-411-2233. Let's find out if they can do the hard work for you at no cost unless they save you money in order to save hotels. And also our great friends over at Ecotech. Now, remember, they've got those great garbage cans that are disposable. Now, I don't have one on me right now, but that's okay. You know what they look like. They're great. They're cardboard. They're going to save you a lot of money. And they may be on Amazon.com right now. But if you go to their website right now, www.eco-techwaste.com, you'll get 10% off. And of course, let them know that Glenn and Anthony over at No Vacancy Live sent you. All right, let's get back to having a real conversation. Anthony, where were you today? Let me change the view on that.
All right.
So great to see you.
So in all the traveling I've done, in 10 years, I've done, I think, 50 countries, 48 states, been everywhere. Never, ever have travel stories. Outside, like traveling, airports and stuff.
The process,
yes. I usually use my brands that I'm very comfortable with, and everything works out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of things happened yesterday and started also this morning. So yesterday, I wake up, I had to be in Tampa, and then I had to be in Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
But then I had to be in St. Pete. So I said, you know what? Let me just rent a car early in the morning instead of getting an Uber. But I have to go to the airport to rent a car, and then I'll go to my meeting in St. Pete. But I have to go from wherever the hell I was, Tampa, wherever. I go over a bridge to get at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning to go get my rent a car from the Tampa airport. And I used a car rental that I don't usually use. I won't mention it, Avis. And then
good thing you're not mentioning them.
But getting from the hotel, I was at the Hard Rock, getting from the hotel to Tampa at 6:30 in the morning in an Uber. Apparently there's not a lot of Ubers in Tampa at 6:30 in the morning. So it takes me 45 minutes. Now I'm pissed off because now I have to, I'm going to be late for my meeting. So I get now, if everything goes well at the rental car company, I will be okay. So I get there, there's two people in front of me. I say, all right, I think I'm okay. An hour later, with nobody apologizing, an hour. Okay,
oh, my God.
So I cancel or change my meeting. I get there. So finally, I get my car. Young lady's as nice as she can be. I get my car. I get in the car, and I go. I get to outside the hotel they're looking at, and the guy that I'm dealing with says, the deal's off. The women deal's off. Deal's off. I was like, I came all the way down here, deal's off? Yeah, deal's off. So a couple of hours of negotiating, deal back on. Okay.
Oh.
This is my favorite part of the story. That's why I'm telling you the story. When I went to get out of the Uber at the Tampa airport, the guy closed the roof of the car or the truck
Mhm.
or car, the SUVs. It comes down automatically. He pushes the button and almost knocks me out. Hits me in the head with the back of the door. You would
Oh
never do that.
no.
You would never do that, right, Robinson? Robinson would never do that. And the reason I don't have my mask on is because me and Robinson are both double vaccinated. He's got his mask on though. Anyway, so yeah, I almost get hit in the head. So I have a watermelon on top of my head.
Oh my goodness.
The guy barely apologizes. And then so I get to the meeting, whatever. Then this morning I get up early so I can be on the podcast. I have a couple other meetings, and so I get up really early, get on the plane at 6 a.m. Fog in LaGuardia divert me to Philly. So I get off. So I said, you know what? I'm going to be the first one to rent a car, and I'm just going to drive
Mhm.
from Philly and be on the podcast.
Mhm.
So we land. I immediately rent the car. Okay, book the car, not refundable because last minute. So okay, no problem. So by the way, the fog lifted. We're going back up. So we go back up, and we land, and here I am.
Nice. Wow. I can't believe it. Now you got me all anxious because tomorrow morning I have a 7:30 a.m. flight to Jacksonville, coincidentally. I'm supposed to land at 10, so I should be able to make the show. But now you got me all scared that there'll be a delay or something like that.
Yeah, and I was hoping I was going to have time for my niece because my niece in Jacksonville, I was going to surprise her, and unfortunately, I just everything went haywire and I didn't have time. But yeah, so just so you know, as you know, you've seen all over the
Hmm.
papers,
Yep.
Jacksonville doesn't have or Florida doesn't have COVID. It's not true.
Hmm.
I mean, everybody really got to stop looking at the newspapers. Everywhere I went, everybody was wearing a mask. If you ask somebody, hey, like I was around one guy, I was like, hey, I'm not comfortable being in a car without a mask. Can you put
Right.
a mask on? Everybody will do what you're comfortable with. And then there was one guy when I was walking through the hotel, the Hard Rock, to get to my room, and the guy
Hmm.
was literally wearing a huge, big gas mask that you saw in World War II.
Well, at least he feels safe, and that's what it's all about. All right, so let's get to our interview today. We have got Scott Curran, the COO of Reneson Hotels, out there, and the company Reneson Hotels is a fourth-generation family business out of San Francisco, California. So we're going to learn a little bit about what they're up to right now. Hey, Scott, if you could center yourself, that'd be great, man. Great to see you. Thank you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. I'm big fans of both of yours, and the platform that you guys provide for hoteliers is amazing. Just sharing a bunch of knowledge, and so really honored to be a guest here today.
You know what's so
Well,
funny?
we'll ruin that, I'm sure.
You know what's so funny? I know it. We have one of the biggest podcasts in the country, really, outside travel and no travel. And so every single time somebody says, "Oh man, we love listening to your show, and you bring so much to travel," like every single time, I feel like it's the first time somebody said it to me because it's like, wow, it's just a privilege. And like I was saying to Glenn, we both promised ourselves that we would do this podcast no matter what. If we were both working, and we're both working, and I'm in the back of a car, but it's important. It's important to talk to people like you, and so thank you for being on.
Yeah, no, I think it's such a neat thing, right? I mean, when I was kind of coming up through the hotel business, it was either you work for, a really good company and those are the only people that you could really go through, for knowledge. And now you guys have this platform that you can really share out there and hear things from, different sources and different parts of the business. And it's amazing to me. I mean, we all go through the same things in the hotel business, right? We've all had similar experiences, and to hear how other people handled that, it, definitely helps you out when you find yourself in that situation somewhere down the road.
Yeah, so one of the things we've been hearing about is how great things are starting to go. And I don't want to, say they're great, but things are definitely turning around right now. If you look at the TSA numbers from the 21st, just 2 days ago, 1.5 million people went through. And yesterday, 1.36 million people went through, compared to about 2.2 million in 2019. But more than 3 times the amount from a year ago when the COVID crisis was really settling in. So it's a good indication things are returning, right, Anthony?
Well, I will tell you that, first of all, I got to make mention because I was giving Robinson, my friend, crap that I can get a bottle of water in Uber, but I can't get a bottle of water when I'm in his car because my throat was killing me. And as we're doing this, he stopped and got me a bottle of water because he loves me. And so thank you, Robinson. And by the way, if you ever need somebody to help you around New York City driver, I have the best. Just DM me, the best guy in the entire world. I'm telling you, I'm not kidding. So yesterday when I was at the hotel, they were packed. The airports were packed. People are wearing their masks. People are paying attention. Delta is doing a great job, still center seat. Everything is like normal. Like you're just so used to wearing your mask now. But everybody's traveling, everybody's moving. The restaurants are busy, and like I said, I'm double vaccinated, so I'm more comfortable now sitting in the restaurant eating dinner or lunch. And it's it looks like the world's coming back, and it's really it's amazing. And there's a feeling of almost like a newborn feeling.
Mike McManus says, "Is Anthony on the high seas?" No, he's on the highway. But this is why we need a good infrastructure bill to go through Congress. So, Scott, enough about us. Let's talk about you and Reneson. Could you set the stage real quick? Tell us a little bit about the company and what you're feeling today as we start to feel the travel exuberance returning to the market.
Yeah, so Reneson, we have 7 hotels. We have 1 independent, we have 2 Best Westerns, 2 Hilton properties, and 2 IHGs. They're all based out of California, mainly in Northern California. We have 1 in the Santa Barbara area. And, over the past, California has some tiers that they've set. And so every county is a little bit different. We're operating 7 hotels in 6 different counties. So we have some that are a little bit more open than others.
Complicated.
Some that are, a little bit more closed than others. We actually had one case, and I won't name the county, but we had one where the state told us we could do one thing, the county told us we could do another, and then the city told us to ignore both of them and do what they said. And so it was like, should we open? Should we not? Who do we end up listening to? But, it's been really exciting over the past, I want to say maybe 3 to 4 weeks. We've seen reservations coming in a little bit further out. And so, what
does that mean, a little bit further out? So
typically over the last year, it's been day of, maybe, spread to 3 days, where our typical booking window was out to, at some hotels was out to like 90 days prior in 2019. And so now we're seeing things, within 7 to 14 days. So people are feeling a little bit more comfortable. And then we're seeing some, bookings coming in for June, August, weddings starting to book in Napa and in the wine valleys, as people are starting to, I think, feel a little bit more comfortable about what happens either late summer to, kind of autumn time.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. Red Edwards is saying that the airports are packed. They're packed. It's spring break right now. So my gut is numbers will start to go down a little bit in a couple of weeks, but then they're going to have a resurgence. Anthony?
Yeah, when people say airports are packed, I don't want people to get the wrong idea. They're packed, but everybody's doing the right thing. I haven't seen anybody doing the wrong thing. I don't see anybody without their mask. I don't see anybody on top of each other. We all find our little corner when we're waiting for the plane. When I'm in the Delta Sky Lounge, it's my favorite place on earth. I'm traveling. Everybody's socially distanced. The way they package the food is perfect. So again, it's safe to fly if you're comfortable, and especially if you're vaccinated. I see it to be very comfortable. One of the things I want to do as the hotel business and business in general opens up is, when you're talking about COVID, it's okay to say, last year. But if you're not talking about COVID, you're talking about like numbers from last year, like, just like previous numbers.
Yep.
I say last year, and we know what we mean. We're not going to say 2019 because I've been saying for the last 2 days, well, last year was 80%, or last year was 90%. I was like, no, last year was empty. I was like, no, you know what I mean. So, all right, new rule. Last year means last year means 2019.
I think we need a new clip. Anthony doesn't know what year it is. We'll figure that out.
2020 was a bogey.
Yeah.
A mulligan.
You got that right.
It was a mulligan.
All right, so Scott, that's great news about the booking windows going. So I have a feeling you're pretty bullish on what the summer market is going to be like for you up in Northern California.
Yeah, I think, as Anthony said, right, people are moving and people want to be out. And, I think we're seeing, when people are traveling inside of our hotels, they are following all the rules. Everybody wants to be out. They still want to be safe. They want to see from us as a hotel that we're providing, a safe environment for them to be in, whether that's through the food, like Anthony said, wrapping it in a certain way, having the hand cleaning stations, all around the hotel. Hilton's done a really great job. They have the stickers that go on the door, where you can see that nobody's been in your room since it's been cleaned and taken care of. So, I think it's really up to us in the hospitality industry to make sure that we make people feel comfortable being out there, that we're taking all the precautions to make sure that they're safe.
Right.
Yeah,
Anthony?
I actually walked in an elevator yesterday, and there was a woman and a child, and before she come on the elevator, she said, "Is it okay if I get on the elevator?" I said, "Sure,
Wow.
please, certainly." And I just, I stayed in the corner, she stayed in the corner, and we had a nice conversation. But it was very nice of her to ask if it was okay for her to come into the elevator. So again, outside of that one place on Earth that is different than every other place on Earth, it's a little place south in Florida. Everybody else looks like they're being relatively safe, but Miami's a different country. So
Well, it's also spring break, and I when I was that age, I felt invincible and not vulnerable to absolutely anything. So I could understand why that situation is happening down there. So I remember the kids
absolutely,
last year when they were like
absolutely.
that. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. But
100%. If this would have happened to me while I was in college, it would have probably taken a bazooka to keep me inside.
yeah,
So
right.
Yeah,
we
absolutely,
all make dumb
absolutely.
decisions when we're younger.
Yeah, honestly, at the beginning of all
Absolutely.
this, at my age, I was kind of relieved. I get to stay home for a little while. I didn't, none of us thought it was going to go on for a year before we had to get back to it. But when we thought it was going to be 2, 4, 6 weeks, it was great, But also not so great, pretty horrible. But Scott, things are turning around for you now. So what are you thinking about? How are you preparing? How are you going to make sure that your hotels are adequately set to set the stage for great, comfortable experiences for guests that are going to leave them wanting more?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we're in a stage right now where we're starting to bring all the staff back. We've gone from the winter here in California was really tough, right? We got busier during the summer, and then saw it come right back down to nothing. So we had people back, and then we had to cut down our staffing again, and then bring it back. And so we've just done everything that we can, but now it's starting to bring on staff. We're starting to see everybody come back. We're starting to see some of those, guests that come see us every single year are starting to make their plans to come back. And so, we just, again, need to be in a spot where we make sure that we're providing, the same, they're coming back with some expectations now that things will be the same. And they're a little bit different on an operations level for what we need to do, but we still really have a responsibility to make sure that when they do come back, that we're providing, a great time for them and they enjoy their vacation the same way that they did, back in 2019.
Right. So as COO of a company, how are you thinking about operations then? Because you have to do things, as you just said, differently in order to go and create the same, or at least the perception that things are the same. So how are you thinking that out? How are you thinking about your 2 decades of experience bringing you to that point where you can make these changes and satisfy customers?
Yeah, I mean, I think safety is the first thing on my mind every single day, right? Safety for my employees, safety for my guests, right? Because a lot still aren't vaccinated. We're still in California to the point where some people are starting to get their first shot. Hopefully that will continue to go forward and be able to feel a little bit better about that. But it's really all about having checks and balances in place to make sure that we're doing everything that we need to do to make sure that those guests feel comfortable. And then taking that feedback that we get from the guests, is this a little bit too far over the line, right? I remember when we first started with COVID, we had a general manager that had signs everywhere in the hotel, right? You walked in, it was like sign, don't wear your mask, wash your hands, do all these other things. And I walked into the hotel, it's like, this just isn't inviting, right? And so
Right.
we need to be able to communicate those things in a way, but not be overwhelming, right? And it's still, we still just need to get to that point where everybody shows up to the hotel and they feel, again, that it's clean, but they're not feeling overwhelmed with the procedures that we're trying to put into place.
Right. So how do you strike the right balance? Anthony, do you want to say something?
No, I'm just saying, yeah, and I've seen that. Everybody seems to be doing it well, and it's not in your face to the point where you feel like that's all you're thinking about. I just want to, on a side note, say that 30%, when people say New York is closed and New York is over, 37% of all New Yorkers have had at least one vaccine. That is a huge number. 37% of all New Yorkers have had at least one vaccine, and they just lowered the age to 50. So I know Glenn's going to be getting it soon, and that's really saying something. That's really it's fantastic, and hopefully we'll have a good summer in New York.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I really hope that I get the vaccinations in before I go to the Hunter Hotel Investment Conference in person, May 10th through 12th. That's going to be a real big kind of victory party, I think, for the hospitality industry. But Scott, so we're talking about guests, and we're talking about making them feel safe and comfortable in this environment. So, what are some of the other things that you're doing in order to get them to spend some money while they're on your properties, particularly the property you have up in Napa, which is a little bit more wine focused?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the wineries have done an amazing job. I mean, what a beautiful setting for outdoor activities, right? California is really focused on everything being outdoor, so there's probably not a better place in the world than you sitting out in Calistoga or Napa in the middle of the vineyards and doing some tasting. And so we've done a lot of things with partnerships with wineries, and again, focusing on outdoor activities for those that we're still traveling during that time. And we've been able to put some packages together and really focus on the guests, right? Focus on what they're feeling safe with, and let them wenjoy their time while they're there. And Napa's such a beautiful place, and we have another one in Solvang, which is wine focused as well. And that one, that's our independent hotel called the Wine Valley Inn. We've actually been sold out for the last month, and so even with the restrictions, people are still finding ways to enjoy themselves, be outside, get back to some sense of normal.
So when you say independent, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go for it. Go for it.
Go ahead. You finish, and I'll follow.
I would say California has been a little bit more tricky. We're talking about all the different rules and all the different jurisdictions and stuff like that. Are your customers as equally finicky, or are they more on the page of other states' behavior?
Yeah, no, I think that there's, as Anthony said, everybody's willing to behave themselves so that they can be out and enjoy themselves. So, I think there's definitely, we've had our issues here and there with people, not wanting to wear a mask or, certain expectations of, what we can do to force people to wear a mask at certain points. We try to do everything that we can, but there's certain lines that we can't cross. And so, I think the customers have all been great. I mean, they want to travel. They love seeing this. We've done buttons on the shirts with pictures of everybody smiling, right? So that they can feel that warmth. I mean, at Renason, that's always been our biggest thing, is teaching customer service. I mean, we pride ourselves on it. We feel like, from top to bottom, everybody needs to be, focused on keeping guests 100% happy 100% of the time. And so trying to figure out ways to be able to get that across during a pandemic has been difficult, but I think we've done a pretty good job of it.
Yeah, it's amazing to me that a lot of hotels and a lot of businesses don't have that little button with your face on, because I think that it's a no-brainer. And I think there's so many brands out there, and I guess it's just so hard to, figure it out to put it across the brand. But I think it's a great idea. And talking about brands, it's a boutique hotel. Do you see, as an investor, as a company that looks at hotel deals, do you see your company looking at more branded or more boutique non-branded hotels, or is it really about the deal?
It's really about the deal to us. We're in the early planning process of building 2 Marriotts. And so, it's a dual branded hotel with one lobby that'll meet in the center. And so I think it's really all about the deal. So we've always been branded hotels. Before we had these 6 hotels that we currently have that are branded. We owned and operated all the Best Westerns in San Francisco. And so that's been typically where we've gone. But the independent, it's interesting. I think they all have their pluses and minuses, right? The independent hotel, we're more free to do what we want to do with the hotel, as far as what way we want to decorate it, what way we want to operate or do any of those things, where sometimes the brands will kind of dictate some things, which makes it a little bit difficult as an operator to run when you have 4 different brands, right? So you go, okay, what am I doing at Best Western, and what platform do they provide at IHG? And so, we tried to do our best to simplify some of that outside of, property management systems and such that are kind of dictated by the brand.
But one of the cool things that you could do, as suggested by Matthew Taramina, is you could share best practices between your brands for COVID or beyond that, just any operational best practices, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think what's happened during COVID is the brands have kind of, and I won't name specific brands, but they've kind of said, do what you need to do to get through this, right? Which has been a good thing. And so it allows us to be a lot more clear to our staff, okay, here's our procedures, right? when a guest checks in, we're going to have the pens here. We're going to have, a table here to keep 6 feet of distance. We're going to use this plexiglass, right? Like we said earlier, we're going to have these buttons. We're going to, it just allows us to, have one set of operations that go for all 7 hotels instead of having 4 different ones for the, 4 different brands that we have.
Right. All right. So we got Daniel is saying he loves dual hotels. They're his favorite. I'm going to guess, Scott, when you're talking dual brand Marriott, you're going to build a Residence Inn / courtyard type property over there. Would be my guess.
Yes. Yeah. We'll meet in one lobby.
Right. And the whole thing, I'm just going to give 30 seconds for people that don't understand the concept of dual branded hotels. Yep. There's something that really came out of nowhere 10, 15 years ago. Sure, they had them, but over the last 5, 6, 7 years, they've really exploded in popularity as owners and operators have realized that you could combine 2 different types of revenue drivers in one building with one core team. It started out as you would have the Residence Inn and the Courtyard by Marriott on the same plot of land on other sides of the parking lot. Then all of a sudden they were the same building, but you had 2 separate lobbies. And now they're kind of being combined because I think the fear of brand dilution is evaporated. So I think for you as an operator, that's great. It allows you to tap into that long-term market as well as that transient market. And I guess it's exactly what you guys are thinking.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the transient market is going to be strong. That's really what we're seeing pick back up first. We have a couple business, mainly business hotels, and mainly we're on the leisure transient side. And those transient, rooms are starting to pick up way faster than any of the business stuff. At least here in California, San Francisco, a lot of the offices are still closed. And, we're kind of thinking that that's not going to come back here for a little bit. And so, the Residence Inn brand really strong, any of those, kind of long-term stays and give somebody a kitchen and, kind of compete with the Airbnb things, I think are going to be really strong brands going forward.
Right. Anthony? Can you hear us, Anthony? No, you're muted. You muted yourself, buddy. You're bouncing around.
The extended, I was on the bridge and I didn't want you to hear the bridge, but the extended stay is going to be something that everyone's going to start getting into. It's. I mean, you see what Blackstone did. They just bought Extended Stay America. So yeah, absolutely. And when the new brands where people don't understand, you can save some money, which is one of the reasons you do it, because you have a lot of common your crossovers.
One back of house.
But a lot of people say, well, that means you can, push the savings to the customer and lower rates. And the answer is no, you don't do that, because in competition in an area, you have to compete with your clients, with your competitors. And if you're $20 lower, $30 lower, it just doesn't make any sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because if you're both selling out, why should I sell out $20 less than my client? They're my competition.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, I think that the major benefit to me is the operational aspect, right? That you have one lobby, you can have one staff, they can go to both sides, right? And you're really meeting 2 different customers in one place, because there definitely is a type of customer for, extended stay brand and then more of a courtyard brand, right? A business side and you have this other side. And so, really being able to meet both of those customers in one place and operate it with one team, I think is going to be a pretty neat process.
So Glenn, I'm going to transition. I'm just going to take my mic off and my sound, and I'll be back in 3 minutes.
Are you at home? All right. So I guess I'm going to remove him from the room. He must have gotten home. He's going to go to his studio, which is kind of exciting. But while we're waiting for him to return, how are you seeing, you just mentioned that a lot of companies in the San Francisco area hadn't come back. We were shocked. I think it was last summer when Google said that nobody would have to come back for all of 2021, for example. That seemed to me, editorially speaking, my opinion, a little too premature over there. So how are you adapting to the fact that you're not going to have those business drivers in the next year or so in an area that was so business transient focused?
Yeah, I mean, we have a Hilton property in Daly City, which is just right outside of San Francisco, that used to see a lot of, all that business, right? The Google people coming to the city doing things. And that's been one of our slower hotels to pick back up. I've grown up in this area. I grew up in Silicon Valley. My dad was in the tech business and I have a lot of friends that are still inside the industry that work for Salesforce, Google, all those type of things. And, they've been told they don't have to come back to work until, I think in some cases the end of the year and things. But what I find amazing is that when I talk to all of them, they all want to go back to the office, right? They're ready to go back after a year of being at home. They want to be safe, right? They want all these things to be in a good place when they do go back, but they can't wait to go back. I mean, I think it'll look something, at least this is just, my opinion, it'll look something a little different than what it did before, where maybe you don't go to the office, 9 to 5, 5 days a week. But I really, truly believe that people are going to want to be back in that environment. I just can't see how, I think it kind of worked during COVID because everybody had worked together before, right? You kind of knew everybody, and, you could still, have some of that camaraderie through Zoom and things like that. But if you're a new employee, I'm not sure how you get the company culture and things over a Zoom call or something like that. And so, I'm really hopeful that I think that will come back at some point. It just might take a little bit longer. I definitely see, where that demand is going to be, over the next year or so is really going to be on that leisure side. But I think the leisure side as well could float some into that business where, I know I'm taking a trip for spring break, and, I'm going to work while I'm doing that with my daughter and my wife and friends, at the same time. So it might be a different kind of leisure travel.
I want everybody to know that I am now getting harassed officially by producer Dave, that I'm doing an absolutely horrible job with some of the graphics on the screen. So he's actually at his job sending me text messages about this. So thank you, Dave, for continuing to do your work while you're trying to earn revenue for a hotel. Oh, we got somebody now in the backyard. Look at that.
Very nice.
Awesome.
My backyard is open.
Yeah, just to fill you in on what we were talking about. I heard you. Oh,
I heard you.
All right. Then continue. Tell us about your backyard, brother.
My pool's open.
It is? Can we see?
Come over or what?
Wow.
But it's shrubbery and the flowers aren't done. But my pool just was open when I was away, so I'm very excited because that's where I spend most of my summer. So so here I am. So sorry to interrupt.
I know we've been having a very successful conversation, but now that you're back, woo! This is going to be here. We were just talking about Dave might be spot on there. Dave was actually texting me because I'm not doing. Oh, I think Dave. Is Dave online now doing stuff? I don't even know. But he's helping us out by calling me and harassing me. I want you to know there, Anthony. So all right. So Scott. Interestingly enough, you were talking before we got on air about how you've been putting your operational expertise into doing a software program. I mean, you mentioned a little while ago you got friends in Silicon Valley. Makes a whole lot of sense to me. How are you able to improve your operations through your own custom software that you've been rolling out to your properties?
Yeah, absolutely. So about 6 months prior to COVID getting started, we I, with a friend of mine, had taken a coding boot camp here in San Francisco, and so we taught ourselves how to write code. And part of that class was a MVP project to create a piece of software that kind of could help out your industry. And being in operations, I thought, well, as I was walking around the hotel, I would look, and the schedule was on a piece of paper, and we had a notebook at the front desk that they were writing things down. And, as we were buying all these hotels, it was all the same across those properties. And so I set out to create something that would digitalize all of that. And so we came up with a software platform that digitalizes the work orders, digitalizes the housekeeping. It does their schedules, the employee staff schedules. And then we added text messaging to it. So you're able to text the guests when they check in. Through COVID, we wanted more of a contactless environment there. And then if that guest texts back that they need towels or they, have a work order in their room, we have an app as well that's available on the Android and Apple Store, that it goes directly to the maintenance person or the housekeeping's phone. And the guest gets a text letting them know that that person will be delivering it. And then when they deliver it to the room, if the guest is out, the guest gets another text back saying that it's been taken care of for them. So we've really, put a focus on taking all the paper out of hotels and really, using the operational experience. And, I was lucky enough to have these 7 hotels that I have that I could take this piece of software and roll it out to them and let them kind of tell me what was working, what wasn't working. and we just kept refining it. And about January of 2020, we rolled that out to the public. Saw some great initial, had a lot of hotels sign up. We got to over 300, and then we, hit COVID. And so, we've definitely been trying to help hotels through COVID, provide a contactless way. A lot of the independent hotels, the brand's not providing some of those things. We're able to go ahead and do that. And we're working with some brands right now on hopefully, being able to provide this solution there. But it's been a really neat experience to, take the knowledge and put it into something that, I was kind of learning at the same time.
And I think texting is the wave of the future for hotels. But how is that software different than a Hot Sauce or other texting softwares that are out there?
I think what we decided we wanted to do, there's a lot that put a lot of focus on AI when communicating with the guest. What we wanted to do was put the AI on the operational side, right? So I think my focus was, I didn't want to have to comp rooms because somebody forgot to fix a toilet or somebody, didn't get their towels delivered, right? And what we saw is the guests didn't really want to talk to a bot. Anybody that's talked to a bot, on text or anything, it's just not quite there, yet. And so where we put the AI in was to say, okay, let's automatically send this work order to the maintenance person. Let's put it in this list that the manager can see, right? And then that way we're making sure these things get done and we're keeping our guests happier and having them come back. So I think what's really different about ours, we also have a social platform through it. And what I was talking about with, what you guys do, right? So I really wanted to put a focus there on, when we own a Hilton hotel in Napa, there's one in Sonoma right next door, right? But they're owned by two different owners. And we have a lot of the same issues, but we don't really communicate with each other. And so through this platform, we have a social channel that you'd be able to then communicate with other Hilton properties. You'd be able to communicate with other hotels within your own management company. I mean, I saw Reneson that we didn't even have the ability for my hotel in Napa to talk to the one in Solvang. And so, as these things come up, everybody experiences the same things, and now you can start sharing it. And if my maintenance guy has a question about how to fix a pipe, right? He can go right on here, ask the other maintenance guys within Reneson, or go out to Hilton's and ask everybody. They get right back to them, and all of a sudden something's fixed that might have taken, we would have had to hire somebody or, go somewhere else just because the communication channels are open.
You fix maintenance issues and your hotel thrives. And if you don't, I don't care how nice your hotel is, it all comes down to maintenance slips, maintenance changes. When the guest checks out of a room because the air conditioner doesn't work, or the window's stuck, or the shower doesn't work, and you don't fix that problem, another guest walks in. That's how hotels start getting really, really beat up. And as competitive as hotels are today, I mean, you can be in a market with 100, 200 hotels. And if you drop out of the top 20, you basically drop out of everybody's, viewpoint, and you can't, nobody sees you, and don't get so change can make a difference between you being number 16 or number 22.
Well, 100%. And also, so in that scenario that you're talking about there, that first guest where it was broken when they left is probably never going to come back. And that second guest that then checks in on that next side, you're going to have to comp his room, right? So now you're out a guest, and, if your rate's $200, you're out $200. And that's about what our software costs per month. So all you got to do is get one of these things right. And you're on your way to paying for the software itself.
Yeah. I was in the room last night. It was a brand new hotel, basically brand new brand, and I fell off the chair because the chair broke. It was a little screw that was loose. It felt whatever. I didn't get that, whatever. I went downstairs because there was no food in the hotel. I had to go out and get food, which was irritating. And they charged me $8 for parking, which was also irritating. And I told the young lady at the front desk, which she was wonderful. I said, "Hey, I fell, and the chair broke. Don't charge me, don't blame me." But it was already broken. And I came down this morning, and they had taken off my $8 charge for parking, which was okay, but I shouldn't have had the $8 charge. And falling off a chair and almost breaking my head. I don't know. I think $8. There was something else they could have done besides $8. But now I gave the young lady the screw. I'm just hoping that somebody fixes that chair so nobody else falls. Although I did turn the chair upside down, so hopefully that'll be a clue.
So Suzanne says, Anthony, maybe you have a few screws loose. I happen to agree with that assessment.
Suzanne, I'm gonna see you in Florida in what, a week or so on our business trip, and I'm going to make sure that I stick you in a crowded club in Miami without a mask on. Okay.
Ooh, now that's a real threat over there. So Scott, this is a great idea that you had to bring all of these things together. So I didn't realize that you were selling it to other hotels. You said you got like 300 on board already.
Yeah, that was
wow.
Prior to COVID.
Wow.
We were at about 300, and so we as COVID hit, we decided to offer it for free. We're in a unique spot. My partner and I, he has a job inside of tech. I have a good job inside of COO that we both plan on continuing. And so we were able to offer it for free through that time and through the end of June. So, any hotels that are out there that are looking for, a text messaging solution or any of those things, we're still offering that for free until June to help hotels that are reopening, kind of get back on their feet.
Wow.
That's nice.
That's great.
That's great. I'm probably going to take you up on the offer. I would love to see the software.
Yeah, I'd love to show it to you, Anthony. That would be great. Yeah, I think, and what you were mentioning earlier with that screw. And so, I think, I used to travel a lot as well in my role. And so what I would always do, and some of the things that we've done with AI, I would go past the front desk, like you said, and said, hey, my AC unit that's in the ceiling is leaking water as I'm leaving for the morning. And I would go out and go to my meetings and do everything else. And I'm thinking to myself, as I come back to the room at 5 and put my key against the door, I'm like, what are the chances this is actually taken care of, right? And you walk in and it's still leaking. And I'm like, geez, wouldn't it be great if there was a way that I could get a text message letting me know that it got taken care of, so I don't have to ask that question. So, again, a lot of this is all built through my experiences through traveling, the contacts that I have. We were lucky enough to have a bunch of hotels at the beginning that really gave us some great feedback. And, we're just going to continue. It really, I'm trying to build this as a platform, that was built by hoteliers, that you can really feel it, that's for hoteliers, right? To try to make their jobs easier and really do, something similar to what you guys do to allow them to communicate with each other and make their jobs easier.
That's pretty cool. What's the name of the product, even though you're not paying us for it?
Yeah, well, we can talk about that afterwards here. It's called guesteq.com. So it's guestdeck.com.
Awesome. All right. So, your family, you work for a family-owned company. Michael Weinberger's curious, was it help or a hindrance during the depths of COVID?
So the family company I work for, these are the most amazing people I've ever met, right? I'm not part of the family, but I feel like part of the family.
Right.
And I've been lucky enough to work with them for the last 20 years. And, I started working as a front office manager.
Wow.
I was a sales manager with the company. I have been a director of sales. I've been a GM at 3 of their properties and finally, did some regional things and then moved to COO. So, I started from the front desk and have made my way through it. And they're just an amazing group of people. They support us in all that we do. Again, I said it earlier that their motto is 100% happy 100% of the time. And they really, truly support us in doing that, by providing the capital that we need to make sure that we have nice properties. It's really a neat group.
Yeah. People are giving you a lot of kudos for that. Sorry, Anthony, go ahead.
No, and that's really the bottom line. Capital to keep your hotels maintained. People think that when you buy a hotel, you can go a good 10 years, you don't have to put money into it. If you're running a hotel properly, you're constantly putting money into it. I just saw a hotel down in Tampa that we're looking at, and I got to tell you something. It's a brand that doesn't always get the respect that it deserves, and it was a 243-room hotel. And I was shocked. It looked like Hotel Impossible just walked out of it. It looked like everything was done exact, clean and painted. It wasn't a luxury hotel by any stretch, but it was a very comfortable hotel, linoleum floors. It was, the bathrooms were relatively new. The front desk was new. And I was shocked. I was like, wow, this hotel owner knows how to operate. It was really fascinating. And it's not in a strong average rate market. I think that area gets maybe a $100 average rate. But it was, I was really surprised. Everything was really nice. The pool was nice. It was clean. And that's what it's about. It's about maintaining your property. And people don't realize that.
100%. If you want to be able to raise that, ADR, you want to be able to do those things, then it takes some money to be able to go into it. And, makes all of our jobs a lot easier. You can talk about, 100% happy 100% of the time, but if you don't put the effort in and put, the things in place to let the staff really meet that goal, then you're kind of setting them up to fail.
Yeah,
Right.
and you're setting the guests up to fail.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. Anthony, I got to go to a hotel with you one day when you're taking a look and kicking the tires on it. I'm just so curious to see all the stuff that you would see and notice that me, as a fervent fan of the hotel business, still doesn't even see or recognize. I think that'll be a great exercise.
I tell you, it was one of the few times in my life I walked in a hotel and I had nothing but like, okay, all right, we got to look at this hotel. Like I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked. There was nothing in there. Like I would change things, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
And there's paint colors and things like that, and the way the lobby's set up. But I was just absolutely blown away because, again, if you know, you know. I mean, you can walk through a hotel. I mean, all three of us can walk through a hotel. If you know, you know. I mean, it doesn't take you too long.
I think it's funny. So, Anthony, I love your show. And my wife will tell you, she's a corporate event planner. So she plans events all over the world. And, when I travel with her, we walk into the hotel and I'm like, I would move that and I would put that over there. And that guy should be standing right there. And she's like, stop it. This is not one of your hotels. I don't want to hear about that the whole entire trip. Right. But I think it's just in us, right? When you walk into a hotel, you're like, that doesn't belong there. Why is that guy standing there? And I think that's been an interesting part about the software, right? With Guest Deck is that I now have all these hotels that are putting, data into here and I'm seeing them and I just want to jump in, right? And say, you shouldn't be doing this. And if you just move that to here, but that's not my, roll into here. And so we're trying to figure out ways where we can, provide help on the issues that we see the most on that. But I find myself doing that all the time when I travel and it drives my wife crazy.
I think everybody's code or quote or should be give the guest a comfortable hotel. That's it. It's that easy. It's that simple. A comfortable hotel. What does that mean? I want a bottle of water, I'm more comfortable. If I want something to eat at 10:30 at night, I'm more comfortable. If I drive up and I'm paying a good rate in an area that doesn't really get a good rate and I'm in a real high market, I shouldn't pay $8 for park.
No,
I mean, in a market that's never really charged for. What the young lady said, well, at least we don't charge you a resort fee.
That's a good one. So, Scott, we got a question for you. This is a real good wonky operations question. Where do you come down on guest room carpet? Yay or nay?
I'm a fan of guest room carpet, but I think picking the right color is important, right?
We're going to war here, Scott. Anthony, tell him why he's wrong.
No, Scott. I want Scott to finish his answer.
I'm sorry.
I'm a big fan of it, but I'm a fan of picking the right color. I've had some designers put in colors that are a little bit too light, and that showed up pretty quickly.
Yeah, but Scott, the whole point is, whether it shows up or doesn't show up, I don't want it in my room. So if it's not showing up, it means it's still in my room. So I am a complete non-starter now with carpet. Now, a throw carpet, throw rug, fine. Like last night, they had really beautiful wood floors, but underneath the bed there was a carpet, and you can clean it. And that, to me, that throw carpet, we gave it some feel and gave it some texture. But I think nowadays, especially now with everybody being more sensitive to smell and to germs, and I can't imagine 1970 roadside hotel with those heavy drapes, everybody smoking, with those heavy carpets, with those heavy duvets. What the hell were we thinking?
Anthony, how do you handle the noise issues there? I mean, with the second and third floor with those hardwoods, I know we when we were looking at a couple of hotels, we saw that was there, and
Porcelanosa has a soundproof flooring. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I actually went with Porcelanosa to a testing facility in Pennsylvania and got to stand in a room underneath where they were dropping stuff on it so you could hear it. They've created this underlayer, which is I don't know all the materials, but it's kind of like recycled tires and other sorts of stuff to create a cushioning underneath there that dampens the sound to I don't remember the exact decibel level, but it was as equal to or better than what you get with carpeting. And no, they're not paying us either.
Well, there you go. You definitely opened my mind. We're going to be redoing the hotel in Napa next year, or at the end of this year. So I'll definitely take a look into that.
Beautiful.
And it's not true exactly, Glenn, because in 2019 they paid me, and 2020 happened, so I still owe them some plugs.
All right.
But I didn't plug them for that. But they do. Porcelanosa does a nice job. And listen, one of the things I don't really have a problem with anymore in hotels is sound. I really don't. I mean, I could count on one finger how many problems I've had with sound in the last 3 years. It's so I haven't seen any real problems with that. But I think it's the wave of the future, and I look for it. Like, again, if you're gonna have a carpet, it better look like you just put it down. It better smell like you just put it down, because yes, unfortunately, I'm a little bit OCD, and I get on my hands and knees and I smell your carpet. Sorry, I do. That's a little too much information. I know that's a little bit too much information.
I'm just picturing that in my mind. Okay.
Yeah, I do. I really do. It's not. I got some problems. Maybe anybody out there can help me, but I can't help it. Listen, for as many years as I'm on TV, I sniffed a lot of stuff.
I've seen that.
Mostly to get him through some of the hotels he had to fix.
Oh. Yeah, right. Yeah. No. My glue sniffing days are way behind me.
I picked a bad day to stop sniffing glue. I love that movie, Airplane. All right, Scott, we're getting close to the end of our hour. Anything else that you want to share with us that we didn't get to so far?
No, I think, we kind of covered everything here, but, I'm just excited for where we're going in this hospitality, space over the next year or so. I think it's really, there's going to be a lot of pent up demand. We're going to get through these vaccines, hopefully, and get everybody going again. And I'm excited for it. I love this business. I never thought I was going to be in this business, when I was going to college, and it just, I worked at a hotel while I was in college, and it just kind of took me over, and I can't wait to get back to seeing our guests and seeing our regulars, the people we see every year, the people that I miss, the events, right? In San Francisco, we missed a PGA championship that, we were going to have a bunch of guests for, Bottle Rock in Napa, the big festival, all these things that go on. And, they're all being planned next year. And so I'm just excited. I'm excited to see my employees back, right? All these people I've known, for the 20 years that I've been with Reneson, and it's I think it's going to be an amazing time for the hospitality industry, and I can't wait to be a part of it.
Anthony, you muted again.
Last night when I was checking into this hotel, it was kind of sad because the young lady behind the desk, I was like, "Oh, have you been here long?" She goes, "Only a couple, 7 days." She said. I go, "Oh, are you new to the hotel business?" She goes, "No, I used to work in corporate, and I was in corporate human resources." And they furloughed me. They're not bringing me back, and I decided to move down here, and I got a job in the hotel business. That's all I know. But it was a little, it was good because she went back to the hotel business, and there's jobs, but also going from corporate back to working the front desk. It was like one of the moments, the first moments that you're starting to see things open up and things get back to normal, but things really aren't back to normal.
Yeah. I think we also have an opportunity to invite people into this business, right? That might have taken that job that maybe wouldn't have taken it before, and now they do, and we can really kind of show them the hospitality. I've heard a lot about people leaving hospitality. It might be I'm hopeful that we might be able to bring some people into hospitality so they can see what a great industry this is.
The best.
Absolutely.
Yep. So, Scott, before we let you go, you said you worked for the same company for 20 years.
Yep.
I think that is absolutely amazing. I know you said they were a good family, but really, what made you stick with one company for 20 years instead of jumping on opportunities elsewhere?
I think number one, the family again. I can't speak highly enough of them. They treat me just like I'm not part of their family, but I feel like I am. And number two is the guests and my employees, right? I mean, my general manager in Napa is the first person I hired 19 years ago. The one at my IHG hotel is a front desk agent that worked for me, 10 years ago when I was running that hotel. It really does have a family feel to it. And I've watched all these people. I know their kids. I have grown up in it. And there's just no other place that I'd want to be. They're supportive of Guest Deck and what we're doing there, which is great. They allow me to beta test all this stuff at the hotels. And
that's amazing.
So it's the perfect fit for me and my family. And there's no place else I'd want to be.
Yeah, and it says a lot about you that you've been there for so long and you're still creating and you're still trying to make things better. And so as great as the family is, as loyal as they've been to you, especially in the family dynamic, you're not in a position if you're not bringing the family value.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you. It's, just personally love to learn, right? All these things that go on. I mean, the coding thing was, with a friend of mine that I've been, played Little League with, and now we're business partners there, and we just wanted to learn something new, right? It sounded interesting to us. It was like, we could create something instead of having to go to somebody else. We could just do it ourselves, right? And so, I'm constantly trying to learn, read, whatever I can to get better, and watch your show, right? I learn things from that every day. So, again, I really appreciate both of you having me on.
Great.
Well, thank you. We appreciate it. And we will see you again, hopefully again soon.
Absolutely.
Be good.
I'd love
All
to
right,
be on anytime.
Great. Thanks, Scott. We appreciate you. Well, that was fun. You, me, two different locations. Now you're home, but you weren't. This is pretty exciting stuff, and I think bodes well for the future of us and future of travel.
Listen, we both made a commitment, and we're gonna, our backgrounds will be different, and there's going to be a lot more travel in both of our lives this year, and there's going to be a lot of me on rooftops or in rooms or in airports, or you on stage, and I'd love to see you do one right after or right before you go on stage, like you did this morning.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun to keep doing that.
How was it being in that room this morning? How was it being in that room this morning with people who maybe it was their first meeting? How was it?
It was surprisingly okay. A little weird just because we haven't done this in a while, but I think it's one of those things, just like we were saying early on, the biggest barrier to get people to travel again is to get to travel again. The biggest barrier to get you feel comfortable about being in a meeting again is just being a meeting again. And then you're going to feel all normal.
No, the biggest barrier is when you meet somebody now for the first time in a long time. Is it a fist bump? Is it a handshake? Or is it an elbow? I've done this like the other day. I saw somebody. I was like, we're like 5 minutes to do. What are we doing?
Maybe that'll be the new hit dance this summer.
I just decided I'm shaking people's hands. So if you see me, I will shake your hand.
Yeah, I got a couple of these sanitizers over here, so I'm pretty cool with that too. Whatever anybody wants to do. I'm hoping that happens soon. I just want to get that over with. I really want to get vaccinated by the time I go to Atlanta for the Hunter conference. So
I tell you, it feels so liberating. It felt again. I still wear a mask with all the right things. I feel normal. I really do. But even with my mask on, I just feel different.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it. You know what? The days are getting brighter, and so is the future of the hospitality industry. I'm really excited, Anthony. Let's wrap this bad boy up. What do you say?
All right. I will tell you on the second Pfizer shot, I did get 103 fever. I got the shakes, and I was very, very tired and very sore and very groggy. But it lasted 24 hours. It wasn't like bad. It wasn't like a flu. It didn't feel like the flu. It felt like a really comfortable flu. Like it was like, okay. It was like,
comfortable.
All right, yeah, it was just like I wasn't sneezing. I was a little hot. I was a little kind of like I just want to be under a blanket and hang out. And then I got chills, but it wasn't like horribly uncomfortable. So get your vaccination. All right, take us out.
All right, I will. And I just want to say the lovely my bride, Miss Stein, she got kicked bad. She was out for days, so I'm a little anxious, but I'm going to get through it. And don't worry, I will complain every minute of the way. So don't you guys worry about that. All right, everybody. Remember, you got one life, so blaze on. And he's frozen.
Be kind to yourself.
There you go. All right, see you all tomorrow. I'll be in Jacksonville. Anthony will be in the studio. We got a lot more great shows to come. See you then.